So some feminists took issue with this popularization by mainstreaming it, saying, oh no, now it's become watered down. If young girls are thinking that it's about girl power and it's really about just having self-determination for your fashion and how you act, how you talk, um, they said this is just like lipstick feminism, powder puff, light, it's not true feminism. So anyway, whatever you think, at least it still brought it to the forefront. A great tool that came about was the internet. The internet for third wave feminists made organizing more effective and far reaching than ever. They were blogging, there were websites, there was mass email communication. Within seconds, you can reach anyone in the world, so you had a larger audience. Um, Women were publishing their own zines. So the internet, changed the way we know life. And so for movements, it was very empowering because it gave them an international platform that was free and, global. So who are third wave feminists? Well, basically, they're the children of the women's lib, the second wave feminists. They were coming of age and showing now living their parents' values of second wave feminism. So this was the first generation. Third wave feminists were the children of second wave feminists who were the first generation to have working moms with college degrees, professional women. Yes, there were some before that, and yes, women of color in this country have always worked. We have the Chicana and the, farm workers. We have African American women who have always worked. I mean, they were brought to this country as slaves to work, but this was the first generation that had higher income earning college degree moms. And so what we saw is that now third wave feminists, we're seeing the fruits of the second wave movement. Women outnumbered men in college in the 90s in college enrollment, and they outperformed men in GPAs. And this is a trend that has not stopped, by the way. There are more women in college, and women have higher GPAs than men. More women graduated with degrees and entered the professional field than ever before. And we saw a shift in more partners sharing the responsibilities of child rearing and just domestic responsibilities, even if they don't have children. So we did see, and this is the paternity and family leave, calling it family leave instead of leave, is really a nod towards same-sex couples as well, who won some of these rights as well. So shifting away from just seeing moms needing maternity leave to, if we want fathers or same-sex households to share in family leave, then let's call it family leave. There was a movement to reclaim derogatory terms. Words such as spinster, bitch, whore, cunt. They were still used in derogatory ways to demean women, but Inga Muscio, she wrote, quote, I posit that we're free to seize a word that was kidnapped and co-opted in a pain-filled, distant past with a ransom that cost our grandmothers freedom, children, traditions, pride, and land. So third wave feminists believe that it's better to change the meaning of a sexist word than to censor it from speech. So instead of saying, no, I'm never going to, use the word bitch, they took it on and said, yeah, I'm a bad bitch. You could call me a whore. That doesn't hurt my feelings. And not only does it not hurt my feelings, but it doesn't disempower me. The generation before them, if you called someone a whore or you called them a bitch, oh my goodness, that was like, you'd just like socially assassinated them. But so this is kind of parallel to the African American takeover of the N word, how now it's so popularized within their community, within the African American community. People use the word freely. Um, Instead of ending it with ER, they just end it with an A. Said, no, we're going to take back that word. That word belongs to us now. And instead of shying away from it, we're just going to use it and make our own empowering definition from it. Third wave feminists brought about the Bring Your Daughter to Work Day. And now we've opened it up. It's now Bring Your Daughter or Bring Your Son to Work Day. You can bring your children to work and really kind of model to them what you do. And fathers are bringing their kids to work. Moms are bringing their kids to work. Really just showing them what it means to be a working parent, what your life is like outside of the home. So the question comes up, do identity politics still matter? So looking at your race, your gender, your sexuality, your class, socioeconomic class, all of these things, this is, what we call identity politics. Do these things matter? And there's what we call the matrix of domination, which the matrix of domination is how all these different parts of our identities intersect and how some of our parts of our identity bring us privilege while others still oppress us. So does it even serve to talk about identity politics today? And sociologists say, yeah, we need to be talking and examining and challenging identity politics and the matrix of domination, because parts of your identity, your race or your gender or your sexuality or your physical ability or disability, all these things, sometimes there are negative expectations and stereotypes and assumptions that people make just by looking at one part of your identity. Your religion, for example, if you're a Muslim, after 9/11, there were all kinds of stereotypes, and they were mostly negative. Your identity politics has legal implications. Like I said, if you have same-sex couple, 95, they could live together and they could be considered domestic partners, but domestic partners did not have the same legal rights as a straight married couple because they were not a marriage by definition. There's still discrimination that happens, that takes place. So often discrimination leads to lack of opportunity and access. And this leads to real economic discrepancies. We still have, women making 80 cents to a man's dollar. Why is that? We still have, patriarchy and sexism in our unconscious behavior, hiring, promotion practices. Identity politics impact people's opportunities. They impact our health discrepancies, our life expectancy. Environmental justice is very tied to health and life expectancy. People who live near the coal mines, people who were farm workers and were sprayed with pesticides, the people of Flint, Michigan. Environmental justice is very tied to people's health. All those people I mentioned, they have higher rates of cancer, of asthma, and therefore, if we don't have quality of healthcare, free, open access to healthcare, it impacts our life expectancy. Race identity, sex identity, class, socioeconomic class, ability, religion, all of these things, they matter because those with power make the rules. And historically in this country, those who have been in power from the beginning were white, male, rich, straight, educated, Christian, able-bodied people. So that's a very small percentage overall of the population who has the historical power to make laws. So everyone is oppressed in some way. Everyone is oppressed differently, however. So when we talk about privilege, privilege does not mean that your life is perfect. It doesn't mean that you've never suffered. Privilege simply means that you get the benefit of the doubt by society when they look at you without knowing you. So I am physically abled, for example. So when I go to apply for a job, consciously or unconsciously, the person interviewing me will look at me and say, okay, this person is physically able. If I came in a wheelchair, consciously or unconsciously, the person interviewing me would make an assumption. Again, it could be subconscious, right? They may not even be aware that they're doing this, but they will look at me and see some sort of deficit. And that will impact if I get the job or not, right? And same thing happens with race. Same thing happens at, people who are not straight, the queer community, having to hide their sexuality or their partner. There are all kinds of assumptions that people will make, and this has a direct impact on their access and opportunity. So, whatever privilege we have, someone giving us the benefit of the doubt as being intelligent, articulate, physically able, this comes at the expense of someone else who doesn't have that same privilege. Labels and categories of the matrix of domination have been used and continue to be used as tools of oppression when they serve to give some people privilege, access, but they marginalize others from the very same opportunities or access. One very kind of simplistic example I could give is that I went to Target. I was hungry. I'd worked out. I grabbed a banana and I ate it as I was shopping. And my brother-in-law says, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm just eating it now and I'll bring the banana peel and I'll pay for it when I check out." He said, "I would never do that. Why don't you just pay for it first and then eat it?" And I said, "Well, what's the big deal?" He said, "I would never do that. I'm a black man. The minute I reach for something, if I so much as eat a banana and say I'm going to pay for it later, I run the risk of security pouncing on me and accusing me of shoplifting." And I thought, wow, yeah, no, I don't have that hanging over my head, that I have to be so careful because I know that I'd be given the benefit of the doubt. And that's not something that, for example, a black person could do freely. So people in privileged status, whatever that is, physically abled or Christian or white or male, those of us, or in straight relationships, we have certain privileges and we have the obligation to change the domination that we have in this country and extend access and opportunity to others for everyone to have a chance at being the very best that they can be. Because when everyone is the best that they can be their fullest potential, everyone wins. And so third wave feminists, and whether we're now fourth wave or continuation of third wave, this is the broad reaching social justice perspective that we bring, that it's not just about women and girls, it's about everyone.